Yes, Happy New Year from John G. Sutton and Tales from the Jails. Yes, folks, it's 2023, another brilliant year in this best of all possible worlds. Yeah, today I'm going to talk a little bit about a TV show that's going to start on the 3rd of January, I believe. It's a TV show that concerns this man. There you go, have a look at this. I think I'll be able to show you the picture there. Can you see that? Yeah. That man there, does anybody recognise him? That is the disgraced former Postmaster General John Stonehouse. Yeah, and he was a prisoner at Wormwood Scrubs. Not any old prisoner though. John Stonehouse managed to get himself many privileges when he was locked up there. Unlike most other inmates, he was entitled, he thought, to demand that the shop where he was supposedly working, because he was banged up, desist from playing Radio 1, popular music, stop that, and play BBC Radio 3, which, as many of you will know, is a classical music channel. Well, I personally listen to Channel 3 myself, Radio 3 myself sometimes. They have operas on and they have symphonies, which if you like classical music, then it's great, but if you don't, it's torture, because listen, if you don't get the ear, you've got to get the ear for classical music so you can listen to it. If you don't get that, then it's purgatory. My wife cannot stand it. She just doesn't have the ear for it. Whereas I've developed that and tried to do so with my grandson, taking him to numerous concerts, classical, mainly with the Liverpool Philharmonic, because I live in Lancashire and they play throughout Lancashire. The Halley Orchestra as well, of course, from Manchester. But we're talking today about John Stonehouse. Now, he was convicted of defrauding the people who invested in his person. He had a bank, believe it or not, and he emptied the bank accounts, put them into his own, and then did a disappearing act off Miami Beach in Florida, and was subsequently arrested and imprisoned for fraud. I met him a number of times in Wormwood Scrubs and found him to be a supercilious, self-opinionated, entitled shithouse. And I didn't leave him in any doubt as to that's what my personal opinion of him was. The thing was, the governors were all over him. They used to play chess with John Stonehouse at dinner time. Imagine that. Yeah, as I said, he demanded that when he went into a workshop they play Radio 3. I know he got away with that, I don't know. I mean, if I was running the workshop, I would definitely say, you don't like it, don't buy a ticket, but you've got your ticket, you're in, this is the show. Yeah, but he managed to get away with that. And he had a heart attack. I've told this story numerous times on this channel. He had a heart attack and was taken to Hammersmith Hospital, where I was the prison guard, the prison officer in charge of John Stonehouse. And he insisted that he wanted a copy of the Times and a bottle of Lucasade. Would I go to the canteen and get that for him? Of course I wouldn't. Yeah, I was not the waiter, I wasn't the butler, I was the prison officer. As I pointed out to Stonehouse, I said, you've made a mistake here. You, prisoner, me, jailer. Within, he complained to the nursing sister who had a word with me and I put her in a place, You nursing sister, me jailer, you nursing, me jailing. Just leave it at that. Get about your job. She didn't like that. Phoned up the prison, complained about me, and within an hour I was replaced. They got some more subservient, obsequious, uniformed tool to go in there and perform the butlering for John Stonehouse. Anyway, his story is going to be told on, or the interpretation of his story on television. I believe it starts on the 3rd of January. And I sincerely hope it paints a picture of him as a greedy, creepy, obsequious shithouse. That's exactly what he is, creeping round the governors and basically demanding that he had special entitlements. His so-called lover, well, his lover was a lady called Sheila Buckley. She used to visit him at the Scrubs. Now, how they got away, who he was a Freemason, you know. Yeah, a 33rd degree Freemason. And when he was at the Scrubs, Sheila Buckley, his girlfriend at the time, used to visit him, and she'd come in a big fur coat with virtually nothing underneath, and they were put into a private room in the visiting section of the prison and allowed to entertain themselves. Who authorised all this, I do not know. I suspect it was the Funny Handshake Brigade. But he got away with that. He got away with it. When he was released from prison, he was released early, by the way, because I think he was sentenced to something like 3 years, but he got out after about a year because they said he had a weak heart. Yeah. Well, as soon as he was released from prison, he was given a publishing contract by big publishers and given an advance. You know, you get when you get published by the likes of HarperCollins, Random House, or Penguins, companies like this, they usually give the author an advance. I wrote for Bloomsbury, and they gave me an advance. HarperCollins, they gave me an advance, but they gave John Stonehouse probably a proper advance. I mean, I got a few thousand. You know, he probably got tens of thousands. And he proceeded to write books of fiction, or he allowed his name to get put on these books of fiction. And believe me, another convicted member of the House of Lords was Jeffrey Archer. Now, I was in HarperCollins. They were publishing one of my books, and in HarperCollins, the director there said, "I'll show you something, John. Come with me." He took me into this big office. There were probably about half a dozen people there, all typing away and what have you on computer screens, you know. I said, "Oh, very interesting." I said, "What is it?" He said, "They're writing Jeffrey Archer's next book." Seriously. I think Jeffrey Archer's input was probably, you know, he'd outlined the script, but if you ever tried to read one of Archer's books, I personally have tried, and after about 3 or 4 chapters, you lose the rhythm because it's a different voice. Now, when you read, you hear the author's voice. You can almost hear it, you know. You obviously interpret it in your own way, but you get the feel of the way that the language is used. But not with Jeffrey Archer, because one individual will write one chapter, and then another writer will write the next chapter, and they each have their own voice, their own way of using language. And because it's not the same voice all the way through, I found it was very, very difficult to follow the plot of the book, because you just lose the voice. Yeah, as opposed to my personal book, which is all my own work, by the way. But the audio version of the book is read by an actor called Alan Turton, who was in Brookside and Soldier, and it is very effective, actually. Let me play you just a little bit from one of the chapters. Let's see if I can find it on my. Here we are. Maybe we'll get this working, eh?
3rd of October 1976. This was where Mary and I had been married 6 years before. It was a real family get-together, and following the ceremony we all went back to Mary's parents' house on the avenue in Lee and shared a light buffet they'd prepared. It was while I was standing in the rear garden of the house that I began to feel a strange sense of unease.
That's the voice of Alan Turton reading HMP Manchester Prison Officer. I know I wrote the damn thing, but he does a really good job of it. So if you're interested, and it's 2023 now, folks, it's time to get my book. Anyway, forget that. Watch Stonehouse on television on the 3rd. And remember this, he was a supercilious, creepy, entitled, obnoxious, snooty shithouse. I'm going to sing you a song now, I think. I'm going to try anyway. If I can find the lyrics. Yeah, I've just lost the lyrics there. Oh, well, here we go. Just have to move this a little bit further forward. Yeah, so I can see this, yeah. It's not, I'm not getting too far with that. Yeah, here we are. Maybe I can get this. Here we are. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. Can't see the lyrics, you see. This is an Irish song. It's Kevin Barry. We used to sing this in the army, believe it or not, when I was a soldier in Germany. In Mountjoy Jail, one Monday morning, high upon the gallows tree, Kevin Barry gave his young life for the cause of liberty. Just a lad of 18 summers, yet no true man can deny. As he walked to death that morning, he proudly held his head on high. Another martyr for old Erin, another murder for the crown. The British laws may crush the Irish, but cannot keep their spirits down. Just before he faced the hangman in his dreary prison cell, the British soldiers tortured Barry just because he would not tell the names of all his brave companions and other things they wished to know. From informer or we'll kill you, Kevin Barry answered no. Another martyr for old Erin, another murder for the crown. The British laws may crush the Irish, but cannot keep their spirits down. There you go. That was my version of Kevin Barry. I hope I didn't kill that too much. No pun intended. Happy New Year. Tales from the jails.